Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Pikarski, and I teach meditation and give Dharma talks at Blue Lotus Meditation Center here in Venice, Florida. Welcome. Today, I would like to talk about the longing for wholeness. Um, because we're in a state of division, a state of fragmentation, uh, we experience a lot of separation in our lives. We experience this separation creates dissatisfaction in us. Like we have a feeling like we need something. Uh, we believe that we are an entity separate from others and separate from the world. This is one of the definitions of samsara, which is delusion in Buddhism, is that we don't see the world the way it really is. We see it through a lens, this lens of thought that breaks everything up and creates an ongoing dissatisfaction in us. And that we basically can call suffering. Sometimes suffering is really pronounced, and sometimes it's just this sense of dissatisfaction, just not feeling like life is missing some element. In our essence, we are whole, but we don't realize this due to our conditioning. Conditioning is basically everything we've been told by others, what the society tells us, and it includes, we've been conditioned by all our experiences. We're also conditioned by our conditioning. In other words, all the conditioning we have, the false views, we repeat to ourselves over and over again. So as we repeat those things over and over again, they go deeper and deeper inside of us. So the conditioning is like a fog that obscures our vision. We can no longer experience our true nature which is love, wisdom and peace. And we can't experience that because we're lost in an illusion. But at the same time, on some level, we long for this love, wisdom, and peace. Because on some level, we know we are that. And on another level, we long for it because we think we do not have it. This even thinking that we do not have it is another delusion. Because we do not know our true nature, we are subject to fear, conflict, and sorrow. But this wholeness is there hidden behind the fragmentation, the duality. It's kind of like the clouds in the sky. The sun and the sky is there, but the clouds hide it. And a lot of times we can get so focused on the clouds, we don't notice the sun and sky, or stop believing that the sun and sky is behind it. So we have this longing for wholeness and try to become whole. Our sense of dissatisfaction drives us to do this. We have no choice, basically, where we need to become whole. This urge is important. And but unfortunately, because of our delusion, because of our lack of understanding, we try to resolve this lack of completion, wholeness, through duality, through fragmentation, because we only know fragmentation. So we project our wholeness out onto something in the world. So we see something in the world, and we start desiring it. And we think if we get this particular thing, money, a man or a woman, prestige, a new car, sex, whatever, that somehow, if we get these things, then that we will feel whole again. But it's like looking for love in all the wrong places. So all these searches to try to find wholeness by union with the other, having money, prestige, a car, the perfect life, they're temporary. Initially, when we get these things, we may feel whole for a short period of time, and then we think our search is over. And this, kind of illusion of wholeness is very, contributes to our delusion, because at some point, because I felt whole when I got that, I just need to get something else now because then I can feel whole again. So all this whole drama this whole drama of searching for things, getting it, feeling whole for a while, and then all of a sudden the longing for wholeness coming up again is all part of this drama. And this drama can kind of cover up our true nature. So we become, after a while, we become disenchanted with this search. We search for better objects or more objects in the world, but the happiness does not last. And the deep longing comes back again and again and again. So as we mature, this deep longing matures into the longing for something spiritual. Begin to realize that all these outside things have not given us satisfaction. We start realizing that whatever it is that can give us satisfaction is something spiritual. So maybe we've had a spiritual experience of some kind, or maybe we just noticed the deep peace within meditation. And when you experience something like that, it's different because it's like a peace that doesn't seem to be dependent upon anything. At least after a while, it's almost like it just, and it's very holistic because it's so holistic. A lot of times the pleasures you get from seeking something and getting it just can't compare. I remember when I had spiritual experiences, I go like, this is 100 times better than just getting anything. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, I finally got this woman that I wanted, or I finally got this job that I wanted. Those things are great, but the spiritual experiences were on a totally different level. But because of the way our minds are, these spiritual experiences, we will tend to pervert them and see them as objects that we're chasing. So we long for God or for enlightenment, but we see these things as kind of foreign to ourselves. We almost see ourselves as unworthy, and these other things as something that we will get after a while. We've been deeply conditioned to search for objects. So even when we turn inward in the spiritual search, we create objects out of the spiritual search. We think that freedom or enlightenment is an experience because we've had other experiences that came and went, and we look for an experience or bliss or an experience of love. And the thing about enlightenment, it isn't an experience. It isn't an experience in a normal way because it doesn't come and go. It's something you realize forever. But the longing becomes the motivation for our spiritual search. So the longing drives us all the time. We're always seeking wholeness. And eventually it drives us toward our true home. So basically, this longing is our true nature calling us home. And we turn, after a while, we turn this longing into practice. So we realize that we need to transform ourselves because our conditioning is so deep and so habitual. We need to practice techniques that go against this conditioning. Only this way can we free ourselves so that we can experience our true nature. And it's interesting about these techniques because a lot of these techniques like meditation is just being content with who you are. You're just not seeking anything, you're just seeing what's there. And so we're really overturning our normal way of seeking. We're seeking just what is rather than what could be. So also by getting our false beliefs out of the way, understanding spiritual teachings through practice, our mind and psyche start changing from something that reflects our conditioned thinking and false beliefs to something that is transparent and aligned with our true nature. So what we're doing is transforming our mind so that our mind is open and is in line with our true nature. When our mind is in line with our true nature, then our true nature can flow through us. The wisdom, love, joy, peace can flow through us because we're aligned. And these qualities are just radiant qualities of our true nature. so the true nature can act through us with no blockages. And this is what we long for. So peace is not something to be gained, but is with us all the time. And we can find this out in meditation. In meditation, you stop doing and you stop seeking and just be, and you find that in just being, there is a deep peace. We also find that truth can't be given to us or obtained from others, but is found in our immediate experience. That's all we need to do is inquire into our immediate experience, and the answers are there. We also realize that the seeking for love is a mistake. That is better to love than to seek love. Because to seek love, in order to seek love, you have to imagine that you don't have it. And by imagining you don't have it, you just create separation. You just create misery. So the longing for love exacerbates our feeling of lack. When we practice loving kindness, we see that we are love. And when we see that we are love, then we just express the love and we feel it. And there's nothing anybody else has to do. And we're not putting our apples on anybody else's cart, hoping that this person all of a sudden will love us, or these people will love us or admire us or any of that stuff. We're just practicing loving kindness. So we're longing for connection, we're longing for love, we're longing for wholeness, but then we see that we are truly one with everything. We realized that we never had to go anywhere or do anything. We just had to turn inward and find out what was there. We were already whole, and yet paradoxically, we had to go through all this to recognize it. So we're already whole, but we didn't recognize it. So we have to go through this thing called a spiritual path to be able to recognize this. So, on the spiritual path, there are dangers because we tend to fragment the spiritual path too. The mind comes in and fragments it. So we imagine that somehow the answer is something that we need to attain that we don't have. Well, whereas the answer is just to inquire into what we are. And by inquiring into what we are, we find our true nature. The object that we are seeking as ourselves. But we're really not an object. We are the consciousness in which all objects arise in. We don't realize that our true nature is always perfect and does not need to be changed to be perfected. Our minds, our false beliefs, and conditioning need to change. Our false beliefs, they need to change. So in a sense, it's almost like you can work on this in two different ways. One is to purify the mind so that the mind can reflect the true nature. The other way is to contemplate true nature directly so you can understand exactly what it is experientially. Both these things tend to work together. One's called the gradual path and one is called the direct path. And my experience is that it's best to do them both. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Thank you for being here today.